Our next message on Exodus is Exodus chapter 20 and verse 8, and that is the fourth command. Last time we looked at verse 7, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. We looked at how we can honor God's name. Now in the fourth commandment, it's remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. And again, when we come to this instruction, we're given the reasons, verse 9 to 10, 11. 6 days you shall work and do all. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. In it you shall do no work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth and the sea and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. God set apart the seventh day. Of course, we know from Genesis chapter 1, God wasn't tired. It was just that God had that principle of rest put into the cycle when he rested on the seventh day. But of course, by the time that the Lord Jesus was here on earth, things had changed. What was made to benefit people by having the principle of rest had completely changed. And so when we come to Mark chapter 3, we come to the opposite extreme. God had made that principle of rest to benefit his creation, and us as his creatures, we were to spend time to enjoy God. But sadly, by the time we come to Mark chapter 3, it's completely different. What was originally created to benefit humans had become a legalistic and ritualistic setting. And in Mark chapter 3, remember, we have the healing of the man with the withered hand. Mark 3 verse 1, he entered the synagogue again, and the man was there who had a withered hand. So they watched him closely, whether he would heal on the Sabbath, so that they might accuse him. And he said to the man who had the withered hand, step forward. Then he said to them, and that is the crowd, including the Pharisees, is it lawful on Sabbath to do good or to do evil, to save life or to kill? But they kept silent. And when he had looked around about them with anger, being grieved by the hardness of their hearts, he said to the man, stretch out your hand. And he stretched it out, and his hand was restored as whole as the other. So here we see that by the time Jesus Christ was here, the Sabbath was something which, unfortunately, the Pharisees with their laws and restrictions had made burdensome for the people of Israel. And Jesus came to free people from that slavery. And of course, we see that Jesus healed the man with the withered hand on the Sabbath day, and this of course further angered the Pharisees. And what about the idea of rest? God has put that principle of rest into creation, and what does that mean for us today? Well, God has never changed. He's always put that principle of rest into our lives. And you remember in Mark chapter 6, remember Jesus said, come yourselves for a while and rest. And they went to a quiet place. And there is that need in the Christian life to have those times of rest. Mark 6 go down just after the feeding of the 5,000. Just before it, Mark 6 verse 30. Then the apostles gathered to Jesus and told him these things after the death of John the Baptist, both what they had done and what they had taught. And he said to them, come aside by yourselves to deserted places and rest a while. That's it. The principle of rest, God has shown us, and Jesus modeled this to his disciples. Someone says if you don't take a rest, you will break down, and it's very, very true that in our lives, and often we don't realize that we need to rest. Matthew 11, Jesus said, come unto me, all you are heavy laden, I will give you rest. And there's a rest that comes from knowing that you're in Jesus Christ, but there's also a rest for a Christian, resting in God's promises, resting in the enjoyment of God, resting in his creation. And we often find that it's in those moments of quietness and sitting still in the presence of God that God actually becomes even more closer to you. I've often reflected on Psalm 23. He leads me by quiet waters of quietness. And I think when we sit in the presence of God, we'll remember the Sabbath day. Not that we have a particular day. I know some choose to honor that and keep one day a week to rest. But the principle of rest is definitely there. And we need to enjoy God in those moments of rest. Thank you for listening.